Creating a picture book is a journey, one that starts with a simple idea and grows into a world filled with characters, emotions, and life lessons. For me, that journey began with a story based on a problem my son faced, being afraid of storms. I wrote, edited, and sketched countless ideas, refining them until they captured what I wanted to share. But it wasn't until I created my finished picture book dummy that I could finally see the full picture. In today's video, I'll guide you through the final steps of this creative journey, showing you how to bring your own story to life through a polished, ready-to-share picture book dummy. I'm Charlotte Glaze, a writer, illustrator, and mom. I've been sharing my creative journey in a series of videos. So far, we've covered getting a great idea, writing, editing, paginating, and thumbnailing our story. You can see all these videos in my How to Make a Picture Book playlist. You could also subscribe to my channel for more videos in this series. My picture book, Storm Trucks, is available on Kickstarter right now. The link is below and I'd love to send you a copy. If you've been following along on my series, I had just made thumbnails of each of my book's pages. The first step to making a dummy is to pick your best thumbnails, the ones that clearly communicate the story, and lay them out, one thumbnail per page of your book. For my first layout of thumbnails, I just used a page in Photoshop and lined up all my favorite thumbnails next to each other. I was checking for storytelling and for variety in the images. When I was happy with the ones I picked, I took each thumbnail and made an individual image for it in Photoshop. I blew up the thumbnail to full page size and drew over it. This drawing was more finished, but still just rough line work. My next step was to bring each image into a document in InDesign and add the text onto the pages as well. I'm going to show you what that first dummy looked like, even though I'm pretty embarrassed by parts of it. I want you to see my progression as an illustrator through this process as well. Here's what my dummy looked like. Take a look at this dummy, and then take a look at my finished book in this other video. There were a lot of changes from this point as well. My story changed, my pictures changed quite a bit, and even what my main character looked like changed. When I was creating my dummy, it was both thrilling and nerve-wracking to see my story start to take shape. I remember looking through the rough sketches, zooming out to see if the flow of the story made sense. The line drawings were simple, yet they captured the essence of each scene. I wasn't aiming for perfection, just a clear story and emotion. I cannot tell you enough how important my critique group was in this process. I brought what seemed like a clear story to them, and they found areas that were confusing and helped me fix them. A critique group is amazing because they support you and are honest about what doesn't work. You can't know what others think unless you ask them. For example, I used to have the power going out because the trucks crashed into a power line and had an accident. My critique group found this confusing and thought it raised a lot of unanswered questions, so that part of the story changed. How finished should the line drawings be? There's a balance between too rough and too polished when it comes to your line drawings in your dummy. My thumbnails were obviously too rough. I found that for me, it was about ensuring the story was clear, the emotions were there, and the compositions were strong. Think of these sketches as your roadmap. They don't need to have every detail worked out, but they should guide the viewer through the journey your characters are on. It's okay if they're a bit loose. What matters most is that the story is strong and the pacing feels right. As I worked on my book, I remember the excitement and pressure of choosing which 3 illustrations would be my finished images, the ones that would best showcase my art style and the heart of my story. These 3 finished illustrations were more than just pictures. They were the moments that made the story come alive. I have to admit that I probably didn't choose the best ones. Scenes that were pivotal to the narrative, where the emotions were high, the stakes were clear. I felt nervous about my illustration skills and chose at least one easy image. For you, think about the moments in your story that you want to leap off the page, the scenes that make your readers stop and feel. These are the images that will give agents and publishers a glimpse into the world you're creating. To sell your book, make your best images finished images for your dummy. Do not finish all the images in your dummy if you are trying to sell it to a publisher through an agent. The art director and publisher will have input on your images, and they only want to see 3 finished pieces to see how you plan on illustrating the rest. Once I had my dummy laid out in InDesign with 3 finished images and the rest in polished line drawing, I saved my file as a PDF to send out to agents as part of my query. I had crossed a major milestone in my creative journey. This was the point where the hard work of creating turned into the equally challenging work of sharing and pitching. It was time to find the right partners who would help bring my story into the world. The next step in this journey is querying, finding an agent who in turn will help you find a publisher. In my next video, I'll walk you through the querying process, sharing tips and strategies. If you're looking for an agent or a publisher, this next part of the journey is where your hard work can start to pay off. Creating a finished picture book dummy is more than just a step in the process. It's a monumental achievement in your journey as a storyteller and illustrator. It's where your vision takes a tangible form ready to be shared with others. With hard work and dedication, your book can go from dummy to a real printed book in the hands of readers. Keep going. You've come so far and the finish line is in sight. Subscribe to hear about my next video and you can get your copy of Storm Trucks right now on Kickstarter. Thank you and see you next time.